So last one's agricultural control. Another one that I don't think we're talking about nearly
No,
enough,
not nearly enough. Right.
and and needs to be controlled absolutely locally. So government regulations are killing independent local farmers. Family farms have been in families for generations after generation, taking out the local food supply and replacing it with a one size fits all corporate food policy. The question becomes, do we want our food supply controlled by the federal agencies and corporate interests, or do we want a local food supply? And the scary statistics here are federal policies determine 70% of farming subsidies, which benefit large agribusinesses over local farms. Over 20 billion in subsidies goes to the top 10% of farms who probably don't even need it. 50% of small farms report being unable to compete due to federal agricultural regulations and compliance. 8 in 10 US farms are required to follow federal pesticide use guidelines, even if it doesn't work in their local area. Federal guidelines require 100% compliance for genetically modified crop use, limiting natural farming practices. 30% of local farms have shut down in the past decade due to restrictive federal policies, and those are small farms
Of course,
most of the
small.
time. Federal land use laws now impact over 200 million acres of farmland, not to mention what Bill Gates has bought up,
Yeah.
being the largest owner of farmland. 70% of family owned farms face zoning restrictions due
Again with this.
to federal environmental mandates.
Again with the zoning, and of course it's the Green New Deal stuff we're talking about that's messing them up, targeting the most vulnerable and the smallest of farmers. That's always big for the big, man. You'll hear me use that phrase a lot. I'm sorry to cut you up. This is one of the ones that gets me really infuriated. Again, another one. This one's just not so much scary as it is just infuriating. You know, the big for the big in play when it comes to the food supply is probably the most ominous. If you think about it, like I attribute this trend that you're describing with all these statistics to, like, forgive me for it's not hyperbole to me. I actually believe this. It's famine from the four horsemen of the apocalypse. That's what we're talking about here. The dystopians want us dependent and essentially want to starve us. It's not even, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. It's what they're doing. There's no other excuse for this. They want us to starve. The cliche, we are the carbon they want to reduce. I'm sorry, there's no other reason for all the statistics that you're rattling off except for that. They want a highly centralized food supply, and they want and the whole idea of food production and the whole concept and methods by which we produce, grow and produce and distribute food makes no sense anyway. It's already completely disjointed and is counterintuitive from the word go, because it favors, again, big for the big. Big government favors big farm in this case, not big pharma, although they favor that too, but big farming. And there's no excuse for it in a free society.
Two more stats and then we'll wrap it up. But
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt the stat flow, but man,
no.
you got me
I
going.
knew zoning was going to get a comment.
Yeah, again with the zoning. Again, federal zoning shouldn't exist. That's another thing that shouldn't exist. The only zoning that should exist is at the local level and open to public forum and for local use only. There should be no state, not even probably county, but certainly not federal zoning anything.
The government spends $4 billion on agriculture inspections every year, with strict penalties for noncompliance, which, of course, strict penalties can be paid for by a large agribusiness much easier than a local farm that's struggling because of all the other nonsense that's going on. And 65% of local produce is subject to federal food safety audits, increasing operational costs. So, they're trying to make it impossible to even buy stuff locally.